But Dave's critique, scholarly critique of technology, was really all about the technology in the hands of power to control workers and other people. That's what it was all about for him. And so the fact that he didn't want to use email had nothing to do with his critique of the British forces opposing the Luddites. He knew that the email would be used by the powerful against the powerless. And now people are finding out that when they use their cell phones, in fact, you know, they don't own all that stuff. And when they on Facebook, you know, they're giving away all this information to the powerful. And Dave was very aware of that, and so he didn't want to provide undue opportunities.
There was his critique of the neutrality of technology. This was the line of thought that he set running in his book, America by Design, and then most famously, Forces of Production. And with his analysis of the process of industrial automation, he really threw into question the idea that technology was a neutral factor which could be used on either side of the political spectrum.
All this came about by design. The technologies were designed and created for this purpose, to reduce the cost of labor. Not to reduce the labor time, the drudgery, but to reduce the hiring of labor. To make corporations global and mobile so that they can instantaneously transfer production around the world, okay, from machine to machine, and undermine the power of any one workforce. For international financiers so they can instantaneously transfer funds and take advantage of all changes in exchange, you know, in monetary values, etc. The banks. For the military so they can move really quick all around the world. Where are they now? Right. And where will they be tomorrow? The police and surveillance, again, every time you use your bank card, every time you use your credit card, they know where you are. They know what you're watching on TV. They know what you're drinking. Haven't you been buying a bit too much vodka lately? Don't use your credit cards. Things are not going as planned, and yet there's no opposition. There's no outcry. There's no resistance. Okay. So don't ever say that I'm against technology. Right? It's practical. It's useful. It clothes us, feeds us, shelters us. Technology used to be called the useful arts. And not only that, but it's the standard by which our culture measures rationality. We don't know how to think about technology in our culture, and many of the books I've written, especially the latest one, Religion of Technology, is an attempt to understand why we're so incapable, we're so irrational about technology. It's very hard. It's presumably the expression of the most rational activities that we have, and yet we can't but be babbling idiots, irrational about technology. We see technology as determining. So here we have this idea of technology is driving distance education, okay, rather than people. Okay. We see technology as tied to the future. So whenever we talk about distance education, we're talking about the future, the future, the future. Well, I'll fill you in on something. We can't know anything about the future. It's the mortal condition. And there are those who have been inspired by divine revelation, etc., who have gotten quite a hearing in the past in human history. But so far as we know, we really can't know with any kind of certainty what the future is. So when people say, it's the future, It's a con job.
David posed some of the sharpest possible questions about the technological trajectory of advanced capital, and he in fact revived thinking about what is sometimes pejoratively called Luddism, that is the refusal of relentless machine development.
I don't grade. I don't give any requirements, including attendance in my courses. I begin my classes every year by saying everyone passes. The university finally made my courses pass-fail to get them off their radar. So every year my classes are sold out. I say there are no grades. Everyone passes. And after the first day, I never see roughly half of the class. I never see them again. They're gone. And sometimes it goes down to maybe 30%. So now we're at the people who meet the criteria of education. People who need to learn something, want to learn something, and we can actually have some education. There are no requirements in my courses. There are no attendance. No papers. I tell people if they want to write a paper, I'd love to read it. If they don't want to write a paper, I do not want to read it. Those who teach here will understand, okay?
Yeah, David and I talked about learning, the process of learning, and we both felt very strongly that you couldn't learn anything from anyone else. You could only learn through your experience of the world, and that included interactions with other people. But no one could deliver something to you, you know. And so whether it was reading or talking or anything, it had to go through the person, and it had to be integrated, and it had to be put through that filter of experience.
Training assumes a radical divorce between knowledge and the self. Or the assertion of self is actually subversive to the enterprise. Okay? That is, the knowledge, the skill is separated from the self. Education is the exact opposite. It's defined, I'm defining it as the complete integration of knowledge and the self, or self-knowledge. That knowledge and the knowledgeable person are inseparable. People can only teach themselves. And they can only do that if they need to learn something, if they want to learn something. And absent that, it's all a charade. People are encouraged to read their professor's mind. What does he want? Rather than read their own mind. That's where most of the energy goes. And philosophers will tell you the problem of other minds, there's no way of knowing what's on another mind. But you spend all your time trying to figure out what the teacher wants. It's called alienation. And again, antithetical to education. Grades also are the sort of the vehicle for the authority of the professor. Grades offer the professor a way of shifting the anxiety to you. First day of class, the teacher's scared stiff, but what does he say? He says, there'll be 3 exams, there'll be 2 papers, you'll get 30% for this, 16% for that, and all of a sudden, anxiety is your problem, not his.